Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the LJL Officially Unofficial cast. We have hit silver scrapes as per the music playing very softly now as a bed. Getting hyped for this series. DFM facing off against Sengoku Gaming. We have hit the final match.
We really have.
What are your expectations for this? What a battle of giants the LJL really is proving to be.
I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think DFM came out to a really strong early lead in that last game, and then Sengoku Gaming's carries really came on. They found all the items. The early Drake control as well really came in clutch at the end. It's come in clutch for them a couple times. It's going to be a difficult one. I think it'll still DFM favored. But Sengoku Gaming have certainly made DFM bleed, and I would not be surprised to see them pick up another game if they pull out some good early control again.
Okay, no merit.
Who would have thought? And who would have thought we'd come here? And actually, I did. I thought it was gonna be a 2-2. So yeah, I can prize myself. 3-0, huh? No. It's been a crazy series. I don't think any of us could have predicted it would have gone in this fashion. It could have very easily been a 3-0 in a lot of ways, given that some of the ways that these games have gone have been very close on a lot of these objective fights. It can be a single skill shot, a single piercing arrow, a single scat of the week, or something like that landing. Going into this last champion select, there are a lot of questions which now have to be asked by DFM. Like, do you continue to ban the Morgana? Do you want to ban out LeBlanc, Zoe? What about Varus? Varus has been very successful for them. There's Aatrox as well, which Afman's gone towards. But they still want to ban that LeBlanc and Zoe, so what do you really want to ban here?
It's going to make things incredibly difficult. I'm honestly kind of in shock as I was predicting that 3-0 for DFM. Obviously, Initialized was on the same idea as me, and while Nightmare thought it went 3-2, is this the way that you thought it was going to go? Or did you think it'd be more dominant in one way or the other?
Well, game one, I feel like was a little bit surprising from Sengoku really cleanly closing out that game. I thought more of the games would be like the last game if Sengoku were going to win it. So game one was kind of the difference there. And yeah, the games that they lost, I felt like they lost pretty decisively.
Sure.
Ironically, I think I disagreed with you. I figured if Sengoku Gaming were going to win, it was going to be more like the game one win, because we'd seen when they had found a formula to beat them in the regular season, it was through that kind of early suffocation, preventing DFM from getting into the river and getting anything done. I thought that was how Sengoku had ways in, but they kind of proved me wrong in that last game with some really clutch late game stuff.
So, question has to be asked: who's going to win this series?
I'll go with DFM. I'll stick to my guns.
Initialize DFM.
I am actually going to say Sengoku. I think that the draft is going to be the key, so I might well re-examine it after that. But I am going to say that Yutori Miyashi is having a very good series.
I mean, you have to ban his virus now, really, right?
I think you do.
They're not going to. You know it's not going to get banned.
Probably not. So they're going to ban Senna as well, because they've been banning Senna the whole series. So I wonder if Yutori Miyashi gets Varus and Pyrian gets a comfortable champion. Sengoku in with a shout. Well,
with Silver Scrapes on the line, let's find out who gets into this as we're a blast from the past. Let me count us in for our fifth and final game of the day. 1, 2, 3. Counting up just to mess with Nightmare, obviously.
4. Game 5.
Everything wins.
And I thought there was going to be a Jin reference. No, it wasn't. We're back into game. Once again, it is the same size. It will be the same. All 5 games with DFM on blue, Sengoku Gaming on red. Zoe, LeBlanc, Set, and I'm going to assume this will be a Pantheon ban here by Sengoku Gaming as their second one, just to continue with that.
And I've really been on the Pyrian hype train a lot of the last couple of weeks. I think that his LeBlanc and his Zoe have been very effective.
They have.
And in this series, his Victor has been too. I've been calling for him to play that for a while too. So I'm glad to see him kind of pull that out and make some use of it. I don't disagree with the bans of the LeBlanc and the Zoe, but maybe this Varus is an oversight. I feel like this is something which Sengoku would very happily first round on red side. 5 games of red side Sengoku, blue side DFM, by the way.
Yeah, the Pantheon is that last ban, and the problem is, right, that Yutori Miyashi Senna is genuinely disgusting. The things he has done on that champion, I think he went deathless one week with a KDA of over 30,
It
which
was huge,
or 26, apology, I think it was actually what it was, so not quite over 30. But first round Syndra, that flexes in. Saros does look good on that champion, so does Utapon. I can understand that pick.
Sure, no, it's a very high value pick for DFM. We saw Saros really taking a lot of aggressive trades and trying to team up with Steel in that last game, but Pyrion played really well defensively on the Victor, like I have shouted out before.
There's the Varus.
The Varus is locked in, and now I'm like, okay, Sengoku, you have yourself the Aatrox and the Varus again. What can you do this? Well, you've banned out the Renekton already, which made Appaman suffer on this pick beforehand. Obviously, the Gnar came in and did a similar thing.
Doing it again, they're running it back.
This is the same draft as Game 4.
And I think it is because DFM knew they had that early game so under control. They just didn't manage to control the Drakes, and that really punished them. I can understand them running it back if they feel that's all that they messed up on.
And last time, this pick was an Olaf. Sengoku now have to decide, are they going to go about this the same way? Were they happy with their last game's draft?
There it is.
They were lucky. Do they want to roll the dice again if they were lucky? They're hovering the Olaf, and it will be locked in. This is a mirror draft right the way through to the second ban phase.
Let's see what happens here with the bans. Are we about to see a repeat? Have we accidentally loaded the wrong VOD? No, it's 2 and 2 at the top. We know what's going on. See what the bands here. Nautilus. It's still feeling much the same right now.
I want to see a Victor ban. I want to see a Thresh ban. Okay, no, the Morgana is a good ban.
I think Victor
that's
makes a lot
worth
of sense. I think Orianna would be a lot less risky, although Olaf does make for a good bowl carrier.
He does do pretty okay on that front, and then the CC from the Shockwave can just win you a fight out of hand, but then the Victor was very important in that last game.
Great use of the spellbook.
Very good use of the spellbook. Sengoku, what are they going to ban? They're going to ban out the Aphelios. They did that in the last game as well.
He's a really strong pick.
Utapon no longer with that S-tier AD carry, and it's
It's
going
insane.
to be a mirrored draft right the way down to Sengoku's fourth pick. It continues on in the same vein. Are they going to lock in the Thresh?
There it is. It's being hovered. Are they thinking of something different? I think it was a good pick. NT certainly had some great dark passages to keep Yuto and Miyashi alive in particular.
And remember, in the last game, it was another unorthodox level 1, which ended up upsetting the game and Steel's early path.
That's real. Will it be the Tahm Kench, or do we see something like a Braum, maybe?
I think that the Tahm
Kench is the same draft.
Okay, so now Sengoku have to say, are we going to run it back the entirely same way? Do we want to lock in the Victor? What else can Pyrion play if they do want to do it? This is the chance to repeat the draft in its entirety for the series.
And DFM throw the gauntlet down, and Sengoku Gaming happily pick it up. It's in the name. It's Warring Kingdoms. We are Game 5. Same draft, same go, rematch for all the marbles.
Run it back. We're going to go see if we can change the fates here that they had in Game 4 for DFM, or try and stay the course for Sengoku, who did win their last game, trying to make it 2 back-to-back. They've traded games thus far. I believe it... Oh, no. So, actually, no. DFM won 2 back-to-back to win Games 2 and Game 3. Sengoku will have to do the same thing after this Game 4, and then going on to now Game 5 to win this series.
Yeah, and DFM going to feel a little hard done by after their pretty strong early game. Those early fights around the Heralds were so explosive for them.
They were.
But the late game objective fights around the Dragons, all the Uber buffs going to Sengoku Gaming, the great poke out of Yutori Miyashi to earn them those souls, the Pyrion staying alive, gave Sengoku Gaming all they needed to finally break it down at plus 40 minutes in Game 4.
Absolutely. So, last time we saw the Hail Blades out of Varus. We'll see if there's any difference there. I'd imagine it will be a poke Varus again if they want to play out around these objectives. Also works really well into the Ezreal. Ezreal is a poke champion, but doesn't deal with being poked well himself up until about 3 items when he builds his first lifesteal item, and doesn't exactly have the highest defensive stats in the game either. If Sengoku get themselves up to an early dragon lead, if they don't throw out the Herald, maybe this game will go even, go cleaner for them, because it was a messy affair last time. It involved 2 Elder Dragons, 2 Barons as well, some near steals, some near misses, and a lot of drama. More drama yet to come.
It really is, and here we are into Game 5. Detonation FocusMe versus Sengoku Gaming, and it is an absolute nail-biter of a series right now. Remember, the winner of this gets to skip round 3. Will go out to the finals straight away. The loser isn't lost. They just drop down into the lower bracket. They get another chance at life. But for now, there's a lot of pride on the line. For now, there is a spot in finals on the line. And this time, Saros has gone for the teleport, and I absolutely understand that. Much better side lane control.
He goes to the teleport, and interestingly as well, Apperman has gone for the electrocute over the Conqueror as well. The Observer did point that out. It is still the Hail of Blades for Varus, who also went for Presence of Mind, which means he does have the ability to stack up some extra mana and then the ability to regen it throughout team fights if a kill or assist
Is that
comes
Ultimate
through.
Hunter as well?
It is Ultimate Hunter and the Taste of Blood. I think he ran that last game. I can't remember. I did actually end up getting a full view of all of them. But yeah, the interesting thing, of course, is the teleport for Saros. No heal, though. The heal, yeah.
Twitter vote has switched around a little now. DFM still favored, but that 80% certainty beginning to waver a little here.
And this time, DFM see the level 1 coming. It is the same as it was last time. They'll have a bit of poke coming out to try and dissuade Blank from stealing this. They get a Mystic Shot onto Yutorimashi as well, and another one coming into lane. That's 200 HP down. Pyrion not going to miss out any XP from this mid lane, but miss out on a couple of CS. This is going to be a faster jungle start for Steel, who's immediately cleared out his blue buff, and I'm not sure where he's going to go. He might do a full topside clear.
Yeah, I think he's not going to bother going for that invade. He knows Olaf cleans house really quick. Gone for those Raptors. I will see whether he runs across the lane. Here he is. Saros spots him, might throw a Dark Q at him for the sphere, but that's about it. And nope, doesn't bother, and Blank is off to the races, going to head straight to his red buff. We'll look for that 3 buff start one more time.
So, last time Ebby started trading up and then up again onto Apperman in the side lane. It started in the early laning phase. This time's Apperman, who's got the priority on the wave as opposed to Ebby in the early levels. Last time, Elise will not have Raptors, did not manage to take away any of the enemy jungle camps as well. Blank might choose to go red and onto his bot side, or try and go for the double scuttle start, as they will be spawning in the next 30 seconds. He's going to take the red buff now. Steel cleans out the ward in that bot side though, but with the bot lane priority, might be able to, we might see a fight around this bot scuttle, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, and Steel was spotted on the ward, knows he was spotted on the ward, and that means Blank will come over here, clear out his top side, and will have a level advantage come this Scuttle Crab fight, which will be spawning in 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, so he didn't choose to go for the Krugs there, would have taken him too far out of the way, will be around the bot side to play around this priority, which once again Yutorimashi and NT have had, and what a series this bot lane for Sengoku have had.
They've been very, very good, and of course the early pressure between a Varus and a Thresh is pretty high, not a surprise to see them shove in, but they've used that pressure so well.
They have, and specifically Blank has in the early game, right? He had a bit of a weird level, game 2 where he was out-leveled and out-jungled as the Jarvan versus Pantheon, but in the game 1 he had that favor given over to Steel in a pretty dominant fashion, so it won't be a double scuttle start this time.
Smart by Steel.
It's smart. I don't think you want to fight the Olaf at this point of the game, not while Syndra doesn't have a push in the mid, or the Ezreal and Tahm have a push in the bot lane. Using the Q shield again is Pyrion to make sure the trade is not as bad as it could be. He's looking for the first gank into top lane though.
He's going to come behind. Nah, it's there. He's got the wallop. He's going to use it? Not yet. Apperman stacks that Conqueror, misses the wallop though, and that Cocoon just thrown out a little bit in hope rather than actual sort of practicality. Knows that minion wave was coming in. It does mean that Apperman escapes this gank for once.
And actually, with the electrocute, he trades pretty well onto Ebby too. Doesn't blow his flash, trades pretty well in HP. It's going better for Apperman this time. Maybe the rune choices have a lot to do with that.
Yeah, Yutorimashi is actually down all of his pots though, whereas there's the double biscuit and the pot in the power of Utapon right now, who's survived this lane poke-wise a little better.
He has, and the hooks are not hitting from NT this time. We saw a couple of them land in the early laning phase. The last time we saw this lane, which of course was last game, there are very few times where we've seen a mirror draft. The last one I remember was actually MSI, I believe.
No mana for Pyrion. He's not going to get stunned, but he's just going to take some damage. Saros, that's a big one, and Saros is looking for a back anyway, so I think he's all right with that. Just had Steel around in case Blank decided to come for a visit, which would have been a possibility.
And I have to say though, each time this happens and nothing is really happening, the state of the game is kind of left in the same state it was before the play was made. I think it benefits Sengoku. I think at this point, you know, you're looking at this and going to say, we know that this comp can scale very well. We saw it in the last game.
Steel's here, so's Blank. They missed the Cocoon. That's a big one. There is still, of course...
There's no cooldowns.
He has got the repel, goes up, but of course Steel has flash. May have to use it. Does.
Flash.
And that's a flash out.
Okay, so flash out from the Elise. They won't be able to have any of that massive impactful plays, maybe up on the top lane as well. Pyrion is chunked for it, might affect his laning phase, but with the
So is
corrupting...
Seros.
Seros is also chunked out a little bit. Both of them have corrupting pots to start really regenning up. That's a big camp advantage onto Blank again, though, this game.
He is. That's just the joy of Olaf. He farms so damn fast, and he got to clean 3 sides of the jungle. Well, pretty much. He didn't get the Krugs from Steel, but that was about it. And he's going to start this Mountain Drake early again.
And
but
you know,
DFM are here to contest. Level 6 for Seros. It's a pretty strong point.
It's also level 6 for Pyrion, and no flash available for the Elise. Double pink ward into that one bush there, and of course the Ezreal being able to poke out does mean that DFM managed to maybe dissuade Sengoku from taking that dragon.
They
2
do shift
control
away
wards
as
being
well.
put down is actually pretty big loss for DFM. That's like 150 gold in the early game lost.
Yeah, assuming they can get this second one anyway. DFM looking to fight it. That Cocoon just
that's so much damage.
Cocoon does come down. The teleport's actually going to come through as well. Flash over for Blank. He's going to keep going on to Steel.
Oh, one more
Teleport. He
time.
got a Devour! It's huge, and Pyrion's now out of the fight, and Blank's in trouble. He's going to go down for first blood. Stepped too far, you think, and he goes down first blood to this Syndra. The stun went wide there. Thought NT would be on the other part of that wall, but that's massive deal. And what a clutch Devour from Gang.
Absolutely clutch. Blank didn't flash for the follow-up auto, which meant that Gang could get in for the saving
He's
Devour.
going to stop the back from Pyrion as well.
That's actually pretty important, because it's a cannon wave. Cannon waves are normally harder to push into turret, so you try to reset very quickly on them and then get back while the cannon and the range creeps are still alive. We're going to go back to the replay of this. At the start of this, we see a lot of skill shots miss from DFM, so then we think, okay, right, where is this going to go? Blank actually flashes forward onto Steel there. I was wrong. He didn't have it at the end of that play. Flash Devour from the Tom Kench comes up huge and buys them a kill and a save. First blood going over to save.
And that is a big deal. Blank's back at it again, though, but I wonder whether DFM will continue to contest. We know he's got no flash. He hasn't got level 6. Could definitely be punished here, but DFM looking to allow this one to pass because Seros has actually backed now. He's got himself a lost chapter, whereas Pyrion's a little bit in a bargain bucket right now. He's actually gone for the early null magic mantle.
Yeah, he had that before he went for the teleport back to lane. So he's had that for a little while, probably waiting for his first Hex Core upgrade at this point. Doesn't want to delay that by too much by already going for the early defensive item. Of course, going against a AP mid jungle, you know, doubling up on that magic resist and who it will be effective against. I think it's pretty good there. Also affects some of Ezreal's damage as well. So when we come into these mid-game fights, the magic resist might end up going the extra mile.
Yeah, and once again, we've seen Utromi actually come up to a decent CS lead in this early game. And Ebby, post that teleport, did lose out to Aatrox, who got a free wave in the top. But as a result, Seros up about 20 in this mid lane right now.
Yes, and Pyrion's actually going to have the stun landed onto him.
Seros
There's a
might have
Ragnarok
to
available.
flash out, does use it, and he's going to get out, but does have to burn that flash. Ebby's here, but so are Utromi and NT to start up for this mountain, the Rift Herald, sorry, and Ebby flashes away. Arrow comes through, does a lot of damage to Ebby, but DFM are around.
Oh, but this time it's like solo lanes have had their flashes blown on DFM. We saw earlier into the series, actually, it was Sengoku's laners which were really suffering from that, with no Mega Gnar and also no Unleashed Power or Flash on the Syndra. I think this is going to be a Herald over to Sengoku. Last time, this is where DFM blew the game open.
They're still thinking about contesting, they're still around, but I think it's just going to go over. Yeah, they're not going to fight. So we still get caught, but there's a Devour. So I was a little bit overhyped there. I thought that was much bigger than it was. Survives.
It was still pretty nasty. Chaos Storm actually thrown out there as well. Blank, I'm not sure you want to be walking up there.
NT could be in a bit of trouble. He's now kind of caught in no man's land. Takes a lot of damage. There's a gang coming in behind. He's got Steel with him, and NT's got no way out, no flash. He just goes down.
He does go down. Had no flash available. It's a good pickup from Utapon, who has shown he is so ready to go aggressive on this Ezreal. It didn't quite work out in the late game, all of the time in the last game, but every time it didn't work out, there was another time where it almost did. And this time it does, and it's another kill over to DFM.
They do, and Seros and Ebby pushing Pyrion back. He's got no Chaos Storm, no Flash, and pretty low in terms of the items right now. Struggling a little bit this early game.
He is, and he did struggle a little bit in the early stages of the game, but then kind of stabilized as the game went on. That's something which happens when you don't take a cleanse immediately against the likes of an Elise, and he does have it now from the spellbook. Of course, Ebby giving some attention into that mid lane matchup as well. And speaking of Ebby, he's actually pretty far down on Aphaman this game.
Yeah, they've decided to put the pressure into Seros to give him an advantageous space, but it has cost Ebby a little bit in his personal lane. We'll see how that goes. We saw the Gnar in the late game was pushing towers, but couldn't actually be a win condition at the end of it all.
But then you look at the other side where Sengoku were fighting around more of the objectives. Maybe it wasn't about having Na being strong, but having Aatrox being weak. And that might be the story of this game, and we know that Appaman can become a raid boss on this champion, as so many LJL top laners have been in this spring split.
Yeah, we'll have to see. No plates really gone over, so it's only about a 15-odd CS lead for this Aatrox. And even so, the range advantage for the Gnar is still pretty obnoxious, and Ebby will continue to try and build up that advantage as Yotorimashi and Enti rotate down towards this bot side.
Yeah, I don't think they want to defend the top lane in this kind of wave clear safe duo of Ezreal, Tahm Kench. The Lantern is being used on Olaf here. Might try and actually catch out Evie as he goes for a recall. Enti has the Mobies to walk up and try and cancel. He's going to get back to turret though, I think.
Yeah, they took a little bit too long to get in there, and Ebby has got the Narbar as well. Would be a fair challenge to kill right now.
And this time in the jungle matchup, we see even levels. It's not as huge an advantage as it was in the last game where Blank did get that, like,
Blank
5.
maybe in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to walk. He might have to use it. He's got Flash as well, which might have to burn Yotorimashi's around. Ebby's chasing forward, has got the Mega Gnar, goes towards Yotorimashi and bursts his Flash because he was able to save Blank and had to save himself.
He did, and that's a pretty big takeaway. Yotorimashi been pretty good at staying in position throughout the entire series, but is caught out a little bit by Ebby's Gnar there, which is a very terrifying beast. If you do get caught up there, Steel would have followed up with the Flash, and it would have been death for him. So I think it is a very good Flash there from Yotorimashi. Very necessary.
Yeah, but what that means is once again, Appaman gets a free lane. Ebby definitely playing more around the team rather than the lane right now, as Blank is in a bush on a control ward, Enti's in a side. Utapon by himself has to be very careful.
Yeah, and actually Blank got out without using his Flash or his Ragnarok, so he is still at a point of power here. Doesn't have his Cinder Hulk completed just yet. That's what he went towards in the last game too. Obviously, with the Cinder Hulk changes, the extra burst happens when you immobilize a target. That doesn't happen on Olaf. You don't have any hard CC, so you don't get the full value out of that item, but you do want the extra HP if you're trying to be a frontliner for your carries.
And Steel has himself a Runic Echoes. It's at a very strong point, as this Cloud Drake will spawn.
So no Cloud Rift this time.
Yeah, and that actually probably is a big deal, because the last time we saw how obnoxious it was on that.
But then again, if it's an Infernal Dragon, then, well, you know what they do as well. There are plenty of souls which work well. Often it's the Cloud Soul which does the least, actually, but it does look like DFM are going to steal the Cloud Drake either way.
It's the most situational, I think, is the way to put it. But DFM get this one with no contestation. They've definitely put more priority to making sure they've got objective pressure this time around.
Yeah, I think that's true. And then actually the Herald goes down into the bot lane here. But remember, last game, this Herald went to the side of DFM. It bought them a tower. It bought them a lot of plates. This time, it will not be... he might be. Oh, he's taking everything.
He's going to have to flash out. Does burn it. He's not quite as dead, but he is now. I think he was too late on that. But Steel now in trouble. Got to find his way out. But he's actually dead. And that's just 2 kills over to Sengoku Gaming.
It is, and that's going to be like the Herald push on the bot side, which is now just walked down alongside Yotorimashi. The whole bottom side jungle going to the side of Sengoku, and a wave being pushed into the mid lane as well. A big swinging goal,
greedy
a big
on
swing.
The flash.
It's very greedy on the flash from Steel, but I think he wasn't close enough to the wall. It would have been a fail flash, which would have been even worse. And it's solo gold over to who else but Yotorimashi.
Yeah, it is. And actually, I was thinking more along the lines of the mid laner Saros, who waited for such a long time to flash out of that Chaos Storm and Gravity Field as well. Which was pretty greedy, I think.
And he didn't take the heal this time, which helped him out in some of those trades in the last game. I think that maybe you're right. Maybe it was hubris. Maybe he thought that he had more backup than he did. Well, let's have a look back here. Gravs, the Chaos... He just everything lands. He could have flashed out of the Grav field over the thicker wall there behind the Dragon Pit.
If he'd done that, I think he survives.
And then, of course, like it was on a ward, but a good hook by NT anyway to catch out Steel as well to wrap up the second kill. The Repel not really able to save anything. No targets to Repel too.
And a big inversion of the gold lead. Now 1,000 gold up for Sengoku Gaming, where it was 1,000 gold for DFM.
It was, however, there is a sizable lead for Saros on the Syndra even after that kill participation for Pyrian. It is 1,000 gold. However, Pyrian has made his way to the first Hex Core upgrade. I can't remember if he's made it to the second one.
Oh, Abyssal Voyage. They're going, they don't use it in the end. They cancel it.
Okay, alright. Well, doing that versus a Varus with heal and ultimate means that often someone will die in that kind of gank. Has the Ghostblade built up yet again. Still going for this poke build on the Varus, even with the Halo Blades. What that does mean is that you can stack up your Blighted Quiver stacks very quickly if someone is in front of your face. You do that with your Halo Blades passive, then you proc one of your abilities to start bursting that. Second Herald is alive. alive. We'll see if any of that poke becomes a big factor in this.
Round 2, fight teleport coming in. Ebby's just walking up. He's not using his teleport. It means he's going to be here a little later. Doesn't have the Narbar. Worth keeping an eye on. Enti on the side as well, who's on this thresh. It's already very low, is this Herald. Cocoon misses. Going to try and get onto it. Blank's not there.
Narbar, no Narbar.
No Narbar, but I think Blank's been zoned away for now. Does go down to steal. Nick of Chains miss. Ebby hops out. That's going to be the Herald picked up. He's got the repel. Has to come down. He's going to have flash away and gets out. That's pretty clean. Stays alive. Blank now in a bit of trouble as Apperman does take a cocoon, but that's all that is.
Okay, alright, so Herald and a lot of abilities burn from the side of Sengoku. That is the World End of the Chaos Storm and the Chains of Corruption from the top, mid, and AD carry of Sengoku, and they don't get anything for it. However,
Flash for steal, that's it.
And it's the Flash for steal, and then, you know, he's got the repel either way and a Tom Kench, so he's probably still happy with that trade. Of course he is, having that Herald. They showed what they could do with that in the last game. However, Sengoku know that if they scale, they can win a lot of these late game team fights. They are still not unhappy with the state of the game. Seros is caught out. He has no flash.
Oh, he's in potential trouble. He's going to use that.
He has no teammates.
He's got the phase rush. He's going to try and get it down. Not quite enough. But that's. Ooh, I thought that Unleashed Power was going to be a lot, but that's a bit of a pickup there. No wards in the jungle and well played by Sengoku Gaming to catch out the mid lane.
Oh, and Seros is having a bit of a nightmare this game. Last game, he was playing very confidently on the Syndra. Didn't pick up all the kills he wanted to, but was on the whole on the winning side of the trades he took. This time, it's actually him being caught out by Pyrion and Blank. The mid lane 2v2 is going the way of Sengoku. Could this be the change in the game which makes this game so much easier for Sengoku to close out?
Yeah, and with the Ocean Rift, all those additional bushes, he goes to check it, gets caught out, and those such a long line on those vertical infernal chains can't quite get far enough, gets pulled back, gets shot down.
And actually, one thing about those chains is that the further away you are from the center, the higher the slow is. And if you try and walk that way, the slow becomes very, very nasty.
Yeah, and you can't get out because it's compressed. You can't go to the sides to get out of the infernal chains in that tight corridor, and gets punished for it.
He does get punished for it, and now with a minute left until the Ocean Dragon spawns, it will be an Ocean Rift this game. Sengoku have pressure on the bot side of the map. They have turrets this game. Remember, it took them like 30 minutes to get their first turret in the last game. This time they got it pretty early this time, although the mid outer turret is still alive and well for DFM. Ebby doing his best to split push, get down some turrets of his own in the side lanes.
Seros is here clearing up this wave, so that one is all null and void as the Ocean Drake will spawn in 5 seconds. It's nearly up, and Sengoku Gaming have got pressure, but the second Rift Herald spawned over here. Steel takes a big trade, but Pyrion takes a little bit of damage from the volatile Spidling. That's about
honestly,
it.
At this point, you know,
get a chunk, that's it.
But this isn't going to kill the turret. It's going to take a chunk out, and then Steel is now chunked. It is a free dragon over to Sengoku. If they doesn't look like they were planning to contest it anyway, rather trading for a mid lane, top lane inner turret rather.
That's not about 2 turret trades. Not awful.
It's not awful, but this keeps the stack up for Sengoku, and when actually the Ocean Dragon basic kind of stats are also pretty good for the side of Sengoku, to be honest.
Yutapon takes a fair amount of damage there from Utorimashi on the way back. Don't get this inner turret, but here is Apperman along with Gang and Steel, who've gone into the red side jungle and put down all the wards.
But this time, this game, Apperman is much happier to wave clear. He has himself a 20 CS lead and also the same kill participation as Ebby. He has himself with the Black Cleaver. He's not massively behind in terms of items. Looks like no one's going to be here in time to wave clear for Sengoku, though, so DFM picking themselves up a pretty meaty prize.
Look where Steel is. Thinking about diving this, maybe. Ooh, a cocoon just missing. Pyrion is here.
Oh, Chains of Corruption. Ooh.
Chains of Corruption do lead. Gang's there. Does get rooted in place, but he's just fine. But mid lane tower does survive for now at the price of 1 Chain of Corruption.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that was I don't know whether that's a necessary price. I wonder if that's just like leaving a tip. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, I don't need to give this to you. You know, like, it's not actually like the cost of the items which I bought. But, you know, like, still, take it anyway. You want it.
And he's actually already down to, like, no mana, despite having only just come back into lane. Used a lot there in that trade.
And also, he has no kill participation, so he has none of those presence of mind stacks. Each one, each takedown will give you 100 mana, up to a maximum of 500. So, you know, 5 takedowns will max him out on that. But sat at 0, it means that his active mana pool is pretty low. He hasn't gone for a more mana or the likes either.
No, he hasn't. We'll be going towards probably that Duskblade second, you feel?
Probably.
It will be another Frozen, not Frozen Heart, it'll be Glacial Fist, Glacial, give me Iceborne Gauntlet, there we go! I was going Frozen Fist, I'm so used to calling it the flipping Ornn item name now. And it's not, it is the Iceborne Gauntlet that will be coming through for Ezreal. who is once again not going towards that Trinity Force, but with a GLP on top, it's a lot of zone control. I can understand
and he does build up,
versus an Olaf.
and he does build up the Duskblade as well. Gives him that 21 lethality, 29 between those two items. So very efficient on that. Perion is actually in a very happy spot this game as well. Has himself the perfect hex core building up to his next item. I don't know exactly what he'll go towards. Last time it was the Morellonomicon. I think he might be going towards a Ludens actually with the double amp tone this time as well. Means that his immediate burst is very strong in this game.
Yeah, and he's got a free push onto that top tower and he takes it. Mid lane, going to push that one out, and Ebby shoves it in the bot side, but Appman is freely receiving that wave, and that will be the end of the shove down.
So now the question is, how do DFM think they win this game? Do they think they win the next team fight with the Muramana at Iceborne, and then DFM, and then the mid laner of Seros deleting someone, or is it through side lanes through Ebby? Because last game, as we said, it kind of stalled out. They took in the inner turrets, and then never found anything beyond that. Gang has the Abyssal Voyage.
Is he going to get there in time? There we go. It's here. He's going to think about it. They've come in, but actually Steel's gone out. He's left it behind. They're going to continue to go in on this guy. I'm not sure how worth it is. Appman taking a lot of damage, but can't get a lot. I think he actually just dies here all the same. He's got healing, but it's not on Yov, and Utapon Arcane shifts away, takes only a single tower shot, and that was actually really clean by DFM.
It was. There was the obviously 2 items on the Ezreal, meaning you saw that damage coming through there. We'll buy them this outer turret in the bot lane too, probably going the way of Ebby. It's good map pressure. Blank almost got there in time. Maybe if Appman had committed the flash and tried to get a bit more CC and healing through his abilities, could have earned some extra time, but they chose not to use those resources, probably saving them for the next team fight. Ebby's actually caught out here. Does have the flash though. Oh, so much damage!
Leave it though. Not gonna get out of that one. Taken straight down. Chains of Corruption once again landing by Yutaro Miyashi, who's doing a lot of work with those.
He is, and there's a minute and a half until Ocean Dragon, so actually not going to be. Oh, it's a lot of damage actually.
Does take a lot of damage, but clears the wave out, and I think Steel was wanting to reset anyway, so we'll deal with that.
I actually don't know if he was, because he has a control on inventory. He was full HP.
That's true.
What that means is actually, whereas he would have spent this next minute trying to get vision around the map for this next Ocean Dragon spawn, maybe he won't be able to do that on the same time frame now. Although he did have to reset at some point before that dragon anyway. Gets himself an Oblivion Orb, so he's pretty happy.
So he's got the cloth armor as well. I think he had the Oblivion Orb before he went back. Right. So there is that. Watching as NT recalls, he's looking to get back in time before this Ocean Drake spawns in 45 seconds. Sengoku Gaming have got shoved in this bot side with the tower down.
And Perion is going for the Ludens, by the way. Once he completes that item, he is very, very strong. He'll have 30% CDR, 35% even. I don't know whether he went for the Time Warp Tonic on this build or for the extra 5% CDR. There's no Abyssal Voyage ready to catch out this Victor right now, which is why Perion Yu could push up in that bot lane. We'll see if he gets to recall and get himself the Ludens before this next fight. The Cocoon lands onto NC, but
takes a big chunk after that Mystic shot there, and the teleport now coming through from Ebby, who wants to be here well and truly in time. There are some good teleport wards in behind DFM though, so Appermen could find his way in. But actually, he's already here, so not going to use it. Yeah, Perion does have Ludens. Check that out. That poke damage will be pretty, or both burst damage rather, will be pretty insane if he can land a good Chaos Storm. If he can land a good Death Laser.
There are so many pieces of poke that we need to keep attention to now. Gang's actually caught out here.
A little bit. Throws another thing. That's a Warlock onto Bang. Utapon tries to go forward. Flash from NT doesn't get it. Utapon does a lot of damage onto Perion and has to use that Honey Fruit to get back up, but there is a Honey Fruit available, and that is so obnoxious. And the Ocean Drake not started. Saros has found his way onto a control ward. Steel taken very low. So is Utapon, though. He's doing massive amounts of damage to Perion, who takes all of his health bar practically just from incidental poke. Saros goes down, though!
Saros goes down and Apperman makes it out. Steel's now caught.
Yeah, but so is Blank in a bit of a weird position. Ebby's not that far away from Meganar. May need to use it. That hook misses. Blank does get out, though, with the Lantern. Ebby's going to go forward. Meganar is huge! Gets a huge shove onto Perion, but it's not going to be done bad. He's actually just going to go down. Steel here onto Utapon. Gets the shutdown available, but it's still a 3v4. No junglers. Well, actually, Blank is here. Perion is here. They might have to give this up to DFM, and that's a big deal. They're going to be at Ocean Soul Point. Sengoku Gaming once again getting the better of these Drake stacking.
I'm telling you, man, this Victor and this Varus are working out so well for Sengoku. This is going to get them the V as well around this fight, which stands for victory, by the way, in case it's not V3 this game. And, of course, Apperman coming out pretty huge there as well, surviving towards the end of that fight. I thought he was going to go down when Ezreal went all in on him. And this is just the power of these long-range pokey kind of champions as well. Utapon does it for the side of DFM, but Seros just gets caught by the Chains of Corruption.
Great flash.
Actually just catching him out.
It was a great flash to avoid the stun as well. Chain of Corruption flash to avoid the stun return. I think if that had landed, Utorimashi just gets blown up from that.
And that's a great lance from NT as well. NT really being the unsung hero by us on this Thresh. I think his lanterns have been clutch. Still having to flash to shut down Utorimashi here, but after taking such a huge amount of poke, does mean that he has to give up the fight there, and it means that 2 Ocean Drakes are now on the side of Sengoku, and what that means is that all of this poke coming in from the Ezreal is going to get less and less effective, and if that soul comes in, it will mean very little in the grand scheme of things.
It really will, but they haven't got it yet. DFM are not out of this game yet, but Sengoku Gaming looking very strong. Utorimashi has finally got himself a kill involvement. Did die for it, but Victor is pretty strong. So is this Olaf, by the way. Look at his items in 4, 1, and 2. He is a pretty tanky boy.
That is one way to put it. Utorimashi has himself another Dirk in inventory. Utapon, however, is building towards that Blade of the Ruin King with the Cutlass in inventory. At this point, he can start regenning up from some of that poke, but it's not him I'm worried about. I'm worried about Saros. If he gets hit again, if Steel gets hit again, they might end up losing the next dragon fight. And that is a little way off right now, but you know, if they lose that Ocean Soul, that's a very good win condition for Sengoku.
And that is all of that. Ebby getting a shove on this side lane has got enough items now to be able to do that, even if he did trade some of his early CS. He is at a pretty strong point, does have that side lane pressure. Saros as well with this teleport is able to play that 1-3-1 style that DFM can do. Maybe they're trusting in their ability to play the map to kind of outplay some of this sort of good team fight mechanics right now from Sengoku Gaming.
Saros is pushed up pretty far there. I was wondering if they were trying to try and collapse on him. He's built himself up the Banshees Veil second. We saw that in the last game as well, and a lot of the poke from Sengoku was aiming to just pop that Banshees Veil and see if they could start chunking out that Syndra before the big fight. Sengoku walk into the river and secure some of the vision that Steel was trying to deny from them. But on the whole, we're going to see an Abyssal Voyage.
And they're going to start Baron as a result. They're going on Apperman. They're going to try and trade this Baron for a dead Aatrox, but he's going to get away, and that Baron is started, and it means there's 3 people just not there. They're not the quickest Baron team, though.
No, they don't have a Blade and a Rage Blade this time, so they don't have the insane percent HP damage. What this is going to be is effectively a world ender for an Abyssal Voyage at the end of the day, and some chunk onto the mid lane, the bot lane inner turret there.
Mid lane went down, though.
Mid lane did go down at some point during that. I can't remember if it was already down.
I can't remember. I think we missed doing so many fights.
There are so many things which have gone on during this game which have kind of given a bit of a smoke screen to some of the things that we'd normally pay attention to. Apperman has kept his 20 CS lead through all of this. He now has a Spirit Visage, which will help him immensely versus the AP damage of the Syndra, and then some of, like I said, some of the Ezreal bursts. And of course, the Hyper Proc from Gnar as well is a magic damage thing.
It is indeed.
And he'll hopefully, if he goes towards something like a Death Stance second, the healing from that will also be pretty absurd.
All right, so
minute and a half for the dragon.
This will be the next really huge fight, you imagine. DFM need that, or they are in a massive hole in this game. If they can secure it, they get a breather, but they are a long way from Ocean Soul themselves.
They are, but it will be mainly about denying the soul away from Sengoku and hopefully just trying to bait them into a fight where they can maybe go and take Baron. That would be a very plausible way for them to get into this game. We see the Edge of Night built up for Utorimashi as well. That could also be a big breakpoint. There's a Blade of the Ruin King on Utapon, and now there is a Frozen Mallet on Ebby as well, who's just going to burn down on his Mega Gnar, which is a bit of unfortunate timing here, as he might have looked to use that in the engage in this fight.
Yeah, just going to continue to shove forward while they can and get some vision down into these increased bush areas. Apperman over here is on ward. They're going to hop onto him and keep chasing him down. Ebby is there, gets out of the infernal chains, throws some more auto attacks, tries to proc some more hyper. DFM this time have the advantage in the river vision, and they're throwing some fairly decent poke out themselves.
They are. Lantern was used by the Thresh there. Things are getting a bit tense as the skill shots are being thrown out looking for poke. Saros gets his Banshee's Veil popped by Death Laser there.
He does,
Death
and
Ray.
double advantage in terms of levels for Saros. At least he goes up to level 15, but it's a rank 3 Chaos Storm for Pyrion right now, which would really sting.
It absolutely would. With the amount of AP available to him, the amount of damage coming out of this victory is going to be huge. Utapon takes another death ray to the face.
He does. We're going to see how this goes. Saros and Utapon a little bit lower than they would like. Nar is here, starting to build up this Nar bar one more time. That hook goes wise. NT taking a lot of damage now. Blank being slowed down. Takes a lot. Has to
Chains of Corruption.
Use it. It is Chains of Corruption.
Oh,
he's gone. That means it's a 4v5, and this Ocean Soul surely available now to Sengoku Gaming. And maybe this was all it took for Sengoku Gaming to win this game. Not with a bang, but a whimper. The flash hook does miss. NT is here taking damage. Steel is so low. Saros is so low. Appleman going in. The World Ender. Steel went forward for a volatile, but I think he's just going to die for it. Flashing away. Gang gets hooked. Has used the cleanse. Utapon is, he is trying to do as much damage. Saros flashing away. Pyrion is here doing so much damage. But Sengoku Gaming are still alive. None of them have died, and the Ocean Drake, the Ocean Soul, is theirs for the taking.
And this could be Sengoku winning their way to an Ocean Soul.
They've got
and
it.
maybe the series here.
Oh,
the
my
outfight
days.
around the objectives yet another time.
It is, and this poke has been so obnoxious. Saros and Utapon's poke is being mitigated. It's not the same for Yutori Miyashi and Pyrions in particular, who are putting out obscene levels of damage on their champions.
This is a very different build for Pyrion this game. He went for the Morello second last game. This time he goes for the Ludens, building up towards a death cap as well, and it shows. Watch as Ebby tries to walk up to Pyrion here and finds that this guy has a lot of bang for his buck. They find some vision into this river brush. Then basically, like the poke lens before all this, Utapon is doing his best on the bot side, but he just gets absolutely deleted. Still gets caught in the burst as well. It's like, oh sure, cool, I'll catch myself a bit of a spider lady. HP bar as well. Pyrion then using the cleanse actually to get away from the, I believe it was an ignite put down onto it. It might have just been on this, I think it was on the spellbook because he wanted to TP back in. That was it.
Yeah, and that is pretty big news. That Ocean Soul, absolutely massive. DFM now need to win a clean team fight, or they don't win a team fight at all.
I think that basically you have to hope that you one-shot the carry. You have to one-shot because that Ocean... There are so many ways for them to heal up in these fights now. If you land, you know, a piercing arrow or a death ray onto someone, then plus the regen is almost too much to overcome.
Yeah, it really, really is. DFM in a very difficult spot. Sengoku Gaming, despite the gold lead only being about 1,000, with their team comp, with their Ocean Soul, are so much further ahead.
Oh,
they're going on to Appleman again. They're going to try and play the map. They got there, but Appleman has got ways out. Has got the flash. Has had to burn it. They're still continuing to go. Utapon chasing in is going to get the kill, you imagine, but there's so much healing. But he finally goes down. That might be a Baron trade, though. Still not the fastest Baron. Saros is here, so is Steel, but it's going down, and it's going down fast enough. They're going to trade and try and trade for an inhibitor here. DFM TPing in.
They are going to try and TP in. They're going to try and problem solve their way out again. Chaos Storm goes down.
Steel takes a hook. They're not going on to him, though. Would have to use that blast blade to get over the wall. It's at about 2,000.
Can he get it? Can he get it?
He's taking a lot of damage. Has to go up into the repel. That's a big trade. He's not gone yet. They're going to try and blow him up. He's going in. He's not got the steel. He's just dead. But now this Baron has been taken. Saros is probably likely to die. He's dead.
Still on the bot side. Saros died, though.
He has died, and that means it's 2 for none at the minute. Appleman is dead. Utapon does take that inhibitor turret. But that is the trade. It is Baron and 2 deaths for Appleman and an inhibitor turret.
And if you go back to, I think it was week 3 or week 4, when Rascal Jester played against DFM in a similar late game scenario, DFM just kind of problem solved their way to an emphatic victory. But Sengoku are just puzzling their way out of such problem solving, making the decisions oh so difficult, and they're coming out with objectives, with team fights, and with maybe a series win in this juggernaut match.
And it is looking that way. Sengoku Gaming certainly have the advantage. They have a Baron. They've got 2 minutes with that on, and the Ocean Soul we keep harping on about is so damn powerful for them. DFM have got some option to play the side lanes. They've got Mortal Reminders. They've got a few items onto the Syndra. They can play these side lanes if they can survive the Baron push, but they need to not.
There's a death cap on Victor.
It's looking pretty dire.
And in this game, there's a level 17 Aatrox just tipped over there now as well. He's died twice in side lanes, but in the team fights, if he's ever allowed to get to them, he will be so strong. There is a Mortal Reminder picked up by the Ezreal, but I think at this point, you know, he doesn't have the damage to really contend with this Varus and this Victor, who are so far ahead in this game because of all the tower gold, all the Baron gold, and all the kill gold that's gone over to them.
Can they even stop the shove? It's 34 minutes. They might just try and end with these. They're trying to do as much damage to the wave as they can. This tower is very low. Ebby's a long way from this tower. He's having to recall. And they're trying to do as much as they can. Pyrion does indeed do pretty disgusting stuff on this champion. Ebby's still going forward. He's not recalled. He started that channel and cancelled it.
They do have the Baron recalls if they do... No, yeah, they do have Baron recalls on everyone but Appamen. If they want to try and reset and take a fight here, they might look for some CC first to see if they can pick up anything else, though.
And Ebby at least trades here. He's finding at least something for DFM. But that's what it is. It's something. It's not clean. It's not the kind of hard, emphatic victory I think I was predicting and a number of others. And Sengoku Gaming look like they are in prime position to take this series.
And we were wondering if they were going to remove the Victor, going to remove the Varus, going to remove the Aatrox even. All three of them made it into this game, and they have been working out to such a large degree. Of course, a lot of it is due to the communication, the synergy, and the game plan of Sengoku, not just the champions, but in this game, I'm sure the damage graphs will be painting a very flattering picture of the carries, and of course, the top laner of Sengoku. Well, maybe not damage for Appamen, he hasn't done too much, but you know.
Yeah. But he survived, and that's a big deal, and he's actually significantly more useful this time around, because Ebby, 0-3-3, hasn't actually managed to pull all that much off. Has got the Blade of the Ruin King, and without the Baron now available, Ebby, if he can find time in a side lane, can certainly pull Sengoku Gaming across the map. That might be DFM's sole win condition at this point.
Will be. At this point, though, Vision has
Elder
once
Drake,
again...
maybe.
Oh, the steal might be caught out here as the Mobis are on NT. He's going to walk down here. Lanson in Yutori
Using that Chilling Smite to get a speed up, uses it to get away, is fine. But that means with Elder Drake spawning in about 20 seconds, Sengoku Gaming have more than prime position. Steal once again.
He's half HP.
This is the problem. Steel has firmly found himself very low around these objective fight starts. Already at half HP. It's pretty massive as well. DFM see nothing.
Gravity Field is so good through these choke points as well, and because Sengoku have the vision, they get to choose the terrain. If DFM walk through somewhere where there's vision, they get to put down the CC and control the fight from that point. Ebby has Mega Gnar. This could be the miracle moment, though. He's going for it.
He goes rooted in place. He's going to try and get in, but he's just dead. That's a big Mega Gnar, but he's going to try and keep going. Utapon has to get devoured straight away. Blank is running forward. Shut down to the Victor, which is huge. It's a 1-for-1, and DFM are currently managing to get out of here. They've got slows for days. The GLP and the glacial slows from this flipping Iceborne are doing as much as they can. Utapon gets another slow onto Blank, and it's somehow, some way, DFM survive that engage. The Elder Drake is still up, and they've got Ocean Soul to Sengoku Gaming to keep healing up. Along with the 3 Ocean Drakes, they can continue to back, as actually there's a big wave going on right now.
There are massive waves in the bot lane there. They might just try and do this tug and this push and pull. Seros has TP. They might try and...
Oh, God, to Utapon. He takes a lot of damage, but he's going to have to go out of this. Uses the Arcane Shift, putting as much poke down as he can. It's Steel, Gang, and Utapon, and the only damage is Utapon. That Observer zoom in, he knew that was an important moment. But for now, the game still goes on. This Elder Drake still is on. Pyrion will be back in 6 seconds, has got a teleport.
And the byproduct of this is Steel is so low coming into this fight. He's probably going to die to just, oh my god, he's just playing with fire. And there's arrows
onto the flipping lantern. Gang and Utapon are here. Pyron's back, and he does all the damage in the world. Gang is dead. NT picks up that kill. The Elder Drake at half HP. Steel's over. He knows this would be his life for this. DFM continue to try and find some way somehow to put damage down.
Well now.
The Pyrium's taking a lot of absolutely no damage. Utapon's here, trying to throw something out. Seros trying to find something over the wall, doesn't really find anything. Steel still waiting, still got that control ward. Is it going to be enough?
They're waiting for the minions to hit on the Nexus, I think.
Yeah, they're going to try and force this because this will be again. That's a huge amount of damage onto Yutori Miyashi. Steals over the back. Has to go up into the rappel. Is now on
so
and
dead.
Zeros is dead. Appaman finds him. Ebby there with a Mega Gnar. Steel is
That's
also
the
dead.
game!
That will be game. Yutori Miyashi, the rest of Sengoku Gaming have got no way. They lose it. Pyrion might die though. He's going to die now, you think.
Oh.
That's at least something, but Appaman has teleported in. Sengoku Gaming, I didn't think you could do this. The Titans are slain. All hail the Olympians.
That might not be it, though.
Wait. Yeah, Appaman's here. It's still...
No, Ezreal died. Ezreal died.
Ezreal did die. I think they're still going to do it. They've got onto Ebby. We've called this the Warring Kingdoms. Sengoku Gaming are here to show there is a new shogun in town. DFM will fall 3-2. Sengoku Gaming, look at those kill stores. It was emphatic in the end.
It was, and this goes to show gods can bleed, and bleed they do, as Sengoku run through Sengoku in that third game with a dominant performance with a mirrored draft from game 4. Post-series thoughts. Lexi, what the heck happened?
We just saw the kings of the LJL topple. They have fallen, and you can see from the players of Sengoku how much this just means to them. They were hugging each other, they ran around, they're all a little bit in shock that they were even able to accomplish this, but I imagine the adrenaline rush that must be going through these 5 amazing players must be phenomenal right now. Congratulations to all of Sengoku, both the staff and the players. Commiserations to DFM. This is the first time that this has happened to them. Normally, playoffs is pretty clean. Interesting where we found ourselves and what a series we just had.
Yeah, for sure. And
Period in Yutori Miyashi.
yeah, I think it was a massive step up from every member of Sengoku. I think that in the past we have had question marks about NC. He looked very, very solid. His Thresh Lanterns were maybe the best lanterns that we have seen in the LJL thus far. His hooks were also pretty on point. It's definitely in the contention. We won't go to the into that.
Hey.
Appaman had some rough games this series.
Yeah, he did.
But to pull out that turnaround in the same matchup he got stomped in game 4 and come in game 5 and just say, like, I'm the Rock now. I can die in side lane, sure, but you're going to have to commit enough to me that my team is winning something big. And of course, Pyrion bringing out the victor and looking stylish on it.
Yeah.
I mean, blank in my eyes was also impossibly good. Like, it just so many things. I mean, it's like some of these players have been to Worlds a few times, and that they might be world-class players. It's kind of freaky to just think about that. I guess Pyrion's pretty good. Maybe
The Blank Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You also just saw from DFM they were fixated on this Gnar pick towards the end of this, and I'm not sure to what end as well, because we saw the DFM around these dragon fights. Gnar would get blown up whenever he tried to go in, and the poke from a Victor and a Varus just outdid this GLP Syndra and the Iceborne Ezreal, which just meant that every time they would trade up in poke or trade in poke, the side of Sengoku Gaming would come out on top. Really,
It's
It's
just truly crazy to think history's been made. This is real history. Sengoku are in our finals, and this means the winner from tomorrow's matchup of Crest Gaming Act versus V3 Esports is going to play against DFM to try and make the finals.
that's massive.
And oh my god, there's just so much to unpack.
There is. And I do want to say that DFM, a lot of their players still looked good throughout this series, right? I think Utapon's Ezreal did a lot of work.
Gang as well was
I think
phenomenal.
Gang's Tom Kench made team fights look like they were winnable when they
winnable, lads.
We know Ebby was good. We saw she steals early games were pretty good in that at least. It just hit the mid game fights, he'd get poked out. That's frustration.
Nymera, the Elise pick. LS thinks certain things, doesn't he, about Elise's?
Yes, Elise may be a sinner pick, but it does end up leading to games where we saw Appaman get absolutely thrown into the dumpster. We also saw that just the volatile Spiderling kind of being thrown out every now and then for good poke ended up being pretty decent at points. Cocoons is good follow-up CC. I'm going to contest Steel's early game thing. I think they were very coin flippy. I think now, feel like I am now justified in what I was saying about Steel having some issues coming into playoffs. I think that he has been exploitable at level 1.
You did say that on episode 7 of the podcast.
And
yeah.
I'm not saying this out of hand. I'm trying to like pat my own back, but there is.
Yeah.
I think there was some precedent to it.
Yes.
I think that
Sure.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of maybe insanity / bravery to say, is this a non-factor? Is this a precedent? I think now it might be a trend.
I don't know, because I still think he went 2-0-1 in that early game. Did a lot of early work. There was the great kill onto Blank early when they tried to get onto Steel. He played very well around that. What I do want to give Sengoku Gaming praise for is their planning, I think is what I will say. Because their level 1 plans were very, very good and much better than DFM's, which seemed very normal, mundane. Whereas Sengoku Gaming consistently found ways to get Olaf ahead by setting up the map for him as a team. And beyond that as well, their kind of game plan around dragons in particular made a lot of sense, with the poke basically landing onto really key members nearly every time. So for me, I think it was Sengoku Gaming being a really cerebral planning team, and coming out from that, I think is probably my read on
this.
And we need to talk about Saros as well.
Oh, I wanted to go on to that. So, DFM have a very big glaring problem when it comes to pick and ban phase. This is why I would now say Axis, V3, and Sengoku are all way better at drafting now in pick and ban phase than DFM.
And I think Rascal Jester had a.
I think Rascal Jester Rascal Jester I can't judge because they're just so wild, and CGA are hot and cold at the moment still to me, so I don't want to pay. Yeah.
Unpacking that statement which you made about DFM have a problem in draft, because it's kind of bad to just leave that hanging there. What do we mean by that?
Yeah.
Saros does not play LeBlanc, does not play Zoe.
No.
Look at the other mid laners we have in the playoffs that remain. We have Arya, who plays those two godlike levels. Yeah. Pyrion are also his best champions. Yeah. And even Ace's LeBlanc, that is his best champion. Pretty much every LJL mid laner has shown the limits of this champion, how it can just run off with the game if it gets a lead, win these late games. But all three of the remaining mid laners, besides Saros, does not play that champion, those champions, and we normally thought that would be offset by the fact that you ban his Kami, you ban his Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger was dropped after game 2, I believe. So that's 3 games where Heimerdinger was left on the table, 2 of which they lost.
I will say that was out of, I think, something of a game plan by DFM saying, well, if we ban the Zoe, the LeBlanc, and take the Syndra, we don't rate. We think we can deal with the rest of Pyrion's champion pool. And I saw that, you saw what they were trying to do, because we saw the flex from Syndra look good. We know Saros plays Syndra very well. We know it's a takeaway from Pyrion. It forces him onto what you would think is his B tier. Turns out his B tier is really good. And that game plan, that draft plan...
Victor.
Yeah, and that draft plan wasn't as good as DFM were hoping it for.
It's also necessarily. It's also slightly disrespectful that they can just assume they can get away with that against Pyrion.
Well, they have done it. They have done it against Pyrion before. And in the regular season, Pyrion has been punished.
But they went 1-1 against them. So it's not even definitive that truly works.
I'm talking about Sengoku Gaming in general here.
Yeah, I think Sengoku as a team, sometimes like you remove the Zoe and LeBlanc and Pyrion has looked a bit toothless, particularly when he's gone towards the Ariana.
But that's normally been... but sorry, I hate I'm cutting you off, but that's always against players who are very good at LeBlanc or Zoe. So they take one of them, first pick the other, and then they've just dominated those kind of lanes. This isn't against those players or mid laners.
And it's also worth noting that this is also on red side. This is
true.
We're another team the entire time.
We're another team. So remember, so in our first round, so both of our round 1 game series, I think there was only 1 red side victory. Every other game was blue side wins. Yep. It was like something like 6 and 1.
7-1.
Sorry, something like that. So 7 out of the 8 games, blue side won. We saw red side win obviously 3 times today, and normally the first pick, if there is a Zoe or a LeBlanc left open, we would see that being locked in. DFM on blue side can't do that. They have to first pick the Syndra. The Syndra looked hot and cold. I believe that's the way we really have to put that. Sometimes it was coming up very good.
Sometimes it was the best thing in their whole lineup by a mile.
Yeah, we saw that a couple of times when, Apperman was caught out on this really behind Aatrox and he just couldn't deal with the Syndra. But then there were other times where this Victor just put on the Q shield, came around with an exhaust or a barrier and just kind of weathered the damage and then just out DPS'd in the fights. I am wondering now with this extra series to play and more time to prepare for Sengoku on the side of DFM, now they get to play catch up to Sengoku and say, what do we do with this time? What do we do?
Particularly answers to Varus and Victor. They thought they had them.
Yeah.
They thought they were comfortable into that matchup. And like, I can understand DFM's confidence, but it didn't work out. And the Varus and the Victor really outdid them in the team comp. And that was a massive deal. Do DFM have answers? I would expect they'll have some. Will they? But they'll have to get to that point in the end. They've still got to face off against V3 or CGA, both of whom look pretty good and could do some dirty things in early games. Both of them. They have got very good dive comps, and potentially they could turn around some of DFM's earlier split weaknesses. We've known that Gang and Utapon getting 4v2 in a bot lane is not a good look for DFM. So maybe DFM could even drop out of playoffs yet.
But again, I have to say, congratulations to Sengoku. Well deserved. They played very well to get that win, and DFM definitely were not giving it up easy. Those were some nail-biter games. Playing around that last dragon, I was like, oh god, Steel, can you do it? Can you not? Can you do it? Can you not? Then waiting to crash into the turret, it was honestly thrilling to watch. I also have the luxury of announcing some news to any of our listeners and viewers still out there. This pod will also be going up today, so anyone watching a little bit even further blast from the past, we over here at the LJL Officially Unofficial, amongst our breaks, we decided between us that we are actually going to go live for our fourth matchup, round 2, match 2, pajama stream.
Is this a blast from the present?
It's just going to be like, I'm going to cut us over to the pick and ban phase, and then it's just going to like, bang in there. That's going to be at 5 a.m. GMT. That is 9 p.m. PST. I'm not 100% sure what time it is over in Japan. Please check your local time zone. Logpedia is very good. So +8 to us. That's 1 in the afternoon, I believe. Well, rather civil for them.
It does shift. I'm not sure. It's either +8 or +9, depending on the time of year. I'm not quite sure at the minute, so I'll have to go double check.
1, 2 in the afternoon, potentially for over in Japan. Hopefully that helps with some time zones. Obviously, we will be tweeting out. Obviously, we have our Discord below if you want to find out any other information. We are also there very active. Obviously, I have to make clear that the LJL Officially Unofficial is not associated with Riot Games at all. We do everything off our own back. While they do, however, allow us to stream their content, which we are very appreciative of. Obviously, everything is super awesome. Obviously, thank you again to Penga Auto for giving us all these lovely assets you can see. So we are brought to you in the absolute most beautiful sense. And I'm going to pass it over to Initialize and Nightmare for any closing thoughts.
So, tomorrow we get to see 2 of our favorite players clash, Boogie versus Aria. I am stoked. I don't know how it's going to go. I said it was going to be a 3-2. It's just got that air of craziness to it.
It does.
I thought that this series today was going to be close because the teams play around objectives in very unique ways to the LJL.
And they went 1-1.
And they did go 3-2. I think the reason that these 2 teams are going to go 3-2 is they just never stop fighting. They just don't. They just keep killing each other.
Was the best.
Oh,
I'm expecting an all-out knockdown, drag-out brawl of a series tomorrow.
It's gonna be like teeth kicked in.
Yeah, big time.
Oh yeah, like full mindless self-indulgence, punch your lights out in the pavement. That's what we call entertainment. Boogie will be trying to do that to Aria, while Aria tries to do that to Boogie. Oh, geez, this could be honestly a crazy time for us over here. I can't wait. I'm going to probably try and get some more sleep as we will be getting up very early for us over here in the UK. But part of the reason for that is because I do have to bring some bad news for anyone else still here. Currently, there is no schedule for when we will be having round 3 and the finals over for the LJL. Things have had to be postponed due to I think reasons everyone is well aware of COVID-19, meaning that when we do get that information, of course, we will sing it from the praises. We will probably tell everybody and anybody. Obviously, check our Discord and Twitter. We will probably keep everything up there. But till that point, we don't know when we'll be able to bring you coverage of the LJL, meaning that's why we are going to go live with this second match of the second round, because I think it's important to try and still do some live content as it comes a lot later into the LJL's spring split into playoffs. But with that said, I have been Alex, otherwise known as Lexi, go by Master on the internet. Of course, I've been joined by the Hapgood brothers of Alex Hapgood, Nymera, and Sam Initialize Hapgood. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely rest of your day.